All right, so let's get into this. I'm warning y'all. This is a very technical video. If y'all aren't familiar with Argus, I probably would just skip over this. If you are not an institutional investor, you may want to skip over this as well. If you're a smaller investor, this may not make sense to you. I'm not trying to belittle you, but this is probably the most advanced way of comparing leases that you can possibly imagine. So what I mean by that is in every lease there's like it seems like there's like five or six different things that go into a lease that affect you as the landlord, such as the base rent, the market rent that you're charging, how much in tenant improvements you're spending, how much in free rent you're giving, and then how much in leasing commissions, things like that. So um, think about it like this: if you're trying to compare two leases, one is at $14 a square foot, and there's $10 in TIs, and the other one is a little bit higher. It's at $15 a square foot, but it is at $20 a square foot in TIs. Which one's better? Then what about the term? Let's say that the TIs are the same, but lease A is at $14 a square foot for a 5-year term, and lease B is only $13 a square foot, but it's for 8 years a term. How do you compare those two? Well, one way is to do it in Argus. You can certainly do it in Argus, and that's perfectly fine. Or you can understand Excel and you can make different models. You can make single tenant Argus runs in Excel. And that's what this is. I'm not going to give this to anybody. I'm not going to sell it to anybody. I'm not, again, go back to my original intro video. If you haven't watched that, um, uh, please go back and watch. I'm not trying to sell you guys anything. I'm just trying to make you guys better investors, better brokers, better property managers. Okay, so if you don't have a way of analyzing leases, A versus B versus C, you need to. So what we've done is we've created what I've done. Maybe y'all have done it better, but I got a summary and assumptions page or tab here, and I've got different scenarios. So my base case, my market leasing assumption for this particular space, this is similar to what would be in Argus. If you were to put this particular space into Argus, what would it look like? In this particular case, I'm just saying $14 a square foot in rent. The average term that I think I'm going to sign a lease for is 60 months. There's going to be 3% escalations. There's a 75% renewal probability. I'm going to spend on average $15 a square foot for new tenants. And then I'm going to spend an average of $5 a square foot for renewing tenants. I'm going to spend 7% on commissions for new tenants, and this is on the gross. I'm going to spend 4% for renewals. I'm going to give away 5 months of free base rent. I'm not going to give any free base rent for renewals. And then the same thing on the CAM, 5 months of free CAM. And then downtime. When a space goes vacant after 60 months, it's going to stay vacant for 9 months. Okay, that's just kind of what I assume for this particular space. Now, if this particular space is in really shitty condition, I can go down here and I can say the first term I'm going to spend a lot more. I'm going to spend 22, 50 a square foot. I also think that a stabilized cap rate for this particular space or this particular building is 7% today. And over 15 years, over a 15-year period, that's going to increase by 25 basis points, and my discount rate is 7%. So let's kind of just talk through this a little bit. What this model does is it's very easy to compare a scenario 1, 2, 3, 4, versus your market leasing assumption. So that, let's say a tenant comes to this space and they want to spend, and they're offering you $12 a square foot, okay, versus the 14 that you had initially underwritten, but they're willing to sign like an 80-month lease, and they'll accept $15 in TIs. You can very easily come up here, and then all this flows to the north, so to speak, and you can see that on average, in your base case scenario, your average 15-year IRR was 4.23. The tenant's proposal is now 3.73%. Not that great. So you want to figure out what levers you can pull to increase this if you're an IRR type investor. If you're a cash on cash investor, if you're a long-term holder of this particular real estate, maybe that's not as big of a deal. So you're focused more on cash on cash. Here, they're not that far off. You can maybe make a little tweak here or there, and you can get these two numbers to be pretty much the same. You can look at the net present value of just the first term of these. You can look at the net effective rent, including concessions, of the two of these. There's all of these metrics that you can use to compare lease A versus lease B. Then you can go back to them and say, well, let's do $12.25 a square foot. I'll keep your 80 months, and I'll give you the $15 a square foot in TIs. Everything else being equal, I can come up here pretty quickly and analyze these two deals. So this is what this model does. Now, if you are not adept at Excel, that's fine. You need to, if you're an investor and you're not adept at Excel, you need to find a commercial real estate broker who is. You need to find a commercial real estate broker who understands what this model does. And if you're looking for a leasing broker, good luck. Good luck finding a leasing broker that understands this level of detail. You, as the asset manager or owner or investor, you're the one that's going to have to figure this out. Now, again, this is Excel, so like I've got different tabs set up. Each of these tabs flow through to the main summary and assumptions tab. So when I change something here, when I change this number right here in the base case MLA, it is going to change the numbers right here, and all of that flows through this particular model. Now, again, this is very, very in-depth. You're probably better off using Argus, but here's why I like this model. I designed this so that I can very, very, very quickly go in and say, all right, Mr. Landlord, here's what we're advertising the space for lease. Here's what you're proposing. Here's what the tenant proposed. And within literally 5 minutes, I can tell them exactly what to do and exactly how to counter the tenant. So understand what is going on here. If you don't understand, you need to figure out Argus, understand Argus, and then go back and try to build your own Excel model. Your Excel model may end up being better than mine. If you're a leasing broker, here's my suggestion. Understand Argus, understand Excel, understand what's going on here. Are you a value to your investor, to your client, or are you simply forwarding emails back and forth? Here's what happens 99% of the time. The listing broker gets an email from the tenant or the tenant's broker and says, hey, I know that you're asking $10 a square foot. Here's a proposal for 9 and 60-month term and $4 in TIs. Please respond. What does the leasing broker do? Leasing broker forwards that to the owner and says, here you go, boss. What do you want to do? Tell me what you want to do. How do we counter them? Do we split the difference in the rent? That is, at that point, where you can hire a monkey to do that. There's no analysis. This type of an analysis allows you to very quickly plug in those numbers and analyze and go back to the tenant to try to get you the best net present value, the best IRR, or the best cash on cash return. So you need to understand it. If you don't understand it, figure it out, and you will be a much better investor for yourself and for whoever your capital sources are. Hope you all like this. If you didn't, let me know. If you do, let me know. And again, I'm not selling this. I don't want you to send me money, but I hope you all enjoyed it.